So hi everyone, it's been a while, but we're back for our In Conversation series. And today we have Anuradha Marwah, who's been with us from the start, basically. You could say that ever since HOC started, Anu's been a part of it. And Anu's had a very, very phenomenal career as a photographer. But before that also, she's done a lot of interesting things, which she'll tell us about. So I think let's start with, so Anu, if you could tell me about your journey.
My journey. So didn't start off thinking I'd be a wildlife photographer, but having grown up in places like Assam and in the Northeast,
Okay.
I guess I was always very connected to nature because that's what I saw. It was not, city skylines. It was
Okay.
always nature. And I'm talking about like 40, 50 years ago, and it was all the more wild and green and everything. So
Okay.
I guess that's where the affinity comes from. But career-wise, I started working off in IT and marketing. I've
wow.
worked for companies like an IIT
Okay.
and Microsoft. I've done a long stint at Microsoft. And that's when I started pursuing photography. And over time, I guess I realized this is what I would want to do.
Oh, wow. So I think, I guess there's two things we have in common, even though I shouldn't really be promoting Microsoft, but I pretty much use a lot of Microsoft
Oh, yeah, you
products.
do.
even now, like other than my phone. Not that I don't like Apple products. And of course, photography is another thing that we have in common. So I guess that's good to know. But okay, so I guess that's what kind of influenced you. I mean, in terms of being around greenery, like you said. So that's what made you focus on like wildlife photography?
I did because growing up, I've always seen bits and snippets of wildlife because of the environment I was
Okay.
in. And I guess you could say I've always been an animal lover or been inclined to
Okay.
animals and wildlife. I just didn't realize it before so that I could pursue it as a career right at the very beginning, but better late than never.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so that's how it is. And photography was, I guess it's just a byproduct of what I was drawn to or inclined towards, and photography was just a means to kind of capture those moments for posterity, and then it kind of took a life on its own.
Okay.
That's-
Wow. So again, before we get into other questions, since you mentioned obviously that you've always been drawn to wildlife, any close saves or anything like that?
Oh,
like
quite a few. I might get into trouble for talking about it.
So no, so you don't have to give us exact details. We're more concerned about how dangerous it was.
See, if you are in close proximity to
Yeah.
wildlife, I'm not talking about your, curated safari environments, but there are places outside your
Of course.
protected areas where wildlife does exist and, people do coexist with them. But now I've had a few encounters like that, not just necessarily within the protected areas, and they've been really hair-raising at times. I've been chased by an elephant.
Oh wow.
I've walked into a leopard.
Oh.
So
Wait. So how do you get out of the whole leopard scenario? The elephant I can understand trying to run or just running away in a car, but the leopard.
no, I was on foot with the elephant.
Oh, wow.
So it was essentially we were doing a wildlife promo shoot,
Okay.
and the elephant kind of appeared out of nowhere. And bull elephants can be really notorious.
Wow.
So it was like the entire crew ran helter-skelter, but it was one hell of a... That's one moment I probably will never ever finish. I'm getting goosebumps if I'm talking about it.
Oh wow. I mean, so that's what I mean. I wanted to share that because a lot of our, viewers or everyone who follow the HOC, they, they may not understand exactly how much risk is involved in anything. Like, I mean, of course, if you're pursuing wildlife, there is an inherent risk, no matter how safe you are. At some point, it's unpredictable. You have no idea what's going to happen. And so every photographer who decides to go out there and, pursue it, they're just putting themselves out. They're putting their life on the line in a way.
It is. So when people go out on how it is everywhere, you go out on safaris, that's how you go out and shoot, or you work on projects. You need to always keep in mind that you're not in control. That is very, very important. Even when you're in a controlled environment, like a safari environment, you need to keep in mind you are not in control. It is the wildlife or the wilderness which is in control. And to have fear is a very good thing.
Of
In
course.
this particular
Yeah.
aspect, fear is essential. And with fear also comes respect. So that is really important. Otherwise, people would just end up being reckless.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point that you just made, because especially in today's day and age where everyone's focused on social media, a lot of people are taking like extremely foolish risks just to get views or to get likes, and that's, in my personal opinion, that's just a very foolish way to live your life, because just for that one brief moment, you could like give up everything. Like you could literally lose everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
And so I guess, I mean, not trying to preach to anyone or trying to like tell people what to do, but the point is, yeah, please don't make like reels driving a bike at like extremely high speeds just because you think it's cool. It might be cool for 30 seconds until you crash. So just don't do it. And again, as Anu said, if you're going to get into wildlife photography, I think she said it better, be careful, but always have some fear inside you so that you know when to back off. Yeah.
So with fear, I guess you're able to draw boundaries.
Yeah.
If you go out without any fear, that is when you go into the territory of being reckless, and that's when disaster happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty scary to think of. Again, I'm not a wildlife photographer, so I don't have to deal with that
You should do
side.
that sometime.
No, I have to get a longer lens first. But coming to lenses, again, so I just want to know also the type of equipment you carry, and again, like you briefly mentioned, I'm sure that also comes with a cost.
Yes.
Yeah. So just if you could tell the viewers about the type of equipment you carry.
So for wildlife, you need a wide variety of equipments because you cannot. So if you were a fashion photographer, or if you were, let's say, a wedding photographer, that's what the most popular way of doing it is.
Most lucrative in some ways right
so
now.
one or two lenses of a certain focal length, you're mainly shooting wide, you're shooting portraits, that's enough. But with wildlife, you can be shooting something right next to you to something like really out on the horizon. So you do need that flexibility in terms of focal length. So multiple pieces of equipment, be it the lenses, multiple cameras, because you don't want to be changing lenses and cameras.
Yeah.
You're out in the environment where there's dust, there's wind, and
you don't want
equipments
to
are
change your
expensive.
lenses.
You don't want to do that. So
yeah. In fact, I've seen some people, I myself get a little bit disturbed by that actually. When I see someone like changing lenses in an outdoor environment, I'm like, okay, you can get it serviced, but that's still like
once
risky.
in a while is probably okay.
I never do it. In fact, thankfully with the new camera bodies, they have basically they have shutters that come down when you switch the camera off.
Right.
So at least for the camera sensor, that's really great. I mean, you're not taking too much of a risk. I mean, of course, I still wouldn't suggest doing it in a sandstorm or anything like that. But in regular weather, it's fine. Like, I guess it's not that
Shouldn't
bad.
be a practice.
Yeah, it shouldn't. I mean, shouldn't be a practice. I personally don't do it. Like, I'm very cautious. And that's, like you said, that's why I prefer to carry like two bodies usually also. Like, so one will have like either telephoto and the other will have a standard 24-70 because that's the length I prefer to shoot at the most. A prime is usually there, but it's only there as like a very occasional use lens. Like if I want to go somewhere and I don't want to be carrying a camera which looks very obvious, that's the only time I'll carry a prime. But beyond that, I prefer to use like a telephoto with a 24-70. Okay, so that's interesting. But you didn't mention the gear, like the type of lenses and all.
Okay, so my gear, I use Canon, and my gear is, there are 3 camera bodies.
Wow.
Like we discussed, we don't want to be changing lenses, so that's the reason for 3 camera bodies. I use a 70-200 2.8. It's mainly for, mid focal length, and plus if you want to do a few portraits of certain animals. I carry a wide angle. And then I have my super telephoto, which is a 400 2.8.
Wow. Okay, wow. And again, asking about the 400, how heavy is that?
So the newer models are quite lightweight, but they still aren't all that light. My years of using the 400, I have issues with my back. I have a permanent tennis elbow.
Oh, wow.
But it's the perils of the job.
Yeah. So that's what I wanted to say. Like when people see a photographer, they don't realize that there's a lot that goes behind just being a photographer. Like the amount of weight you carry, or like walking around all day with a camera. It's not easy. Like it gets very tiring. Like even if you carry just one lens with one body, so I was recently traveling in November. So when I travel, if I'm outside, I obviously don't want to carry like a whole kit.
Right.
With multiple lenses on my back. So I would carry one body, one lens, like a 24-70 with my A7R5 and Osmo Pocket 3 and Osmo Action 6. But even then, like just carrying that much, which is not very heavy, when you carry it for like 8-10 hours, it gets heavy. Yeah.
And air travel with so many camera gears is not at all an easy thing.
Yeah. I mean, that again depends. Like, I'm sure you carry a lot more, but when I travel, like whatever I take, so normally I pack based on like where I'm going and how much I need.
Yeah.
Because this is something you learn over time, basically, that you learn how much gear to carry. In the beginning, you try to take as much as you can. And then over time, you start understanding, okay, you don't need so much. Like,
then you try and figure out, you realize combinations and what equipment suits a particular destination or location.
Yeah. So again, since you mentioned destination, I'd like to know, like, what's been your favorite destination so far?
To shoot wildlife in India. I absolutely love Corbett Tiger Reserve.
Wow.
So Corbett happens to be India's first national park and tiger reserve, and also Asia's first national park. And as far as elsewhere is concerned, I love the island of Borneo.
Okay.
I love Kenya, Tanzania. I love the wide open savannas and the beautiful sunrise and sunsets that you get over there.
So I think that's inspiration for all of us. I've not been to Kenya either, and I've not been to like the reserves over there, or like I've not explored that. So I think for all of us, I think we can at least get an idea of looking at Anuradha's photographs. Like they can be found on her website as well as on the HOC. Some of her photographs can be found on houseofcreativity.in. And I think that's what photography also is. It gives you an experience, or it exposes you to something which you may not have the chance to see in person at times. So I think that's what I feel, that every photographer, their vision or their like creative perspective helps a lot. And even though like we're going to this whole phase of like AI trying to like steal others' works,
or imitate life.
Well, I prefer to say steal, but I might get into trouble for that later at some point. But even though getting into that where an artist's work is being incorporated and then replicated, I still feel that nothing can beat someone actually capturing a moment, or actually like creating, because you're not going to get that moment again. No matter how much we use software to recreate it, you're not going to get that moment ever again. Like like even for example, like the moments where you had to run away from the elephant, but that's still like you're not going to get that moment again. If I had to ask you, even though I don't like using the word perfect, what would you define as a perfect wildlife photograph?
I'll give it a slightly different kind of a twist. A perfect picture can be something which looks really beautiful.
Yeah.
But when we talk about wildlife, I think we need to first look at wildlife as to what it is.
Yeah.
Right now, wildlife is in danger all across the world.
Mm-hmm.
Be it human encroachment, be it development projects, be it climate change, so all sorts of things. So in my opinion, in the current scenario, a perfect wildlife photograph need not be beautiful or pretty or awe-inspiring. It can be something which can be disturbing.
Mm-hmm.
It can be thought-provoking, something which probably leads you to be a little empathetic or sympathetic towards wildlife, and to probably understand the gravity that maybe it used to be pretty and beautiful, but it isn't. It's in danger. If it creates some sort of an emotional connect, which maybe wants you to, you may not necessarily do something, but maybe wants you to protect it, or even influence some sort of conversation or policy, I think that would be a perfect wildlife photograph in today's scenario.
So I basically completely agree with Anu on this. Basically, people view photography as just capturing like fun memories. It's not that. It's a lot more than that. It's basically about, making us think about important matters, exposing certain things that people try to cover up. Like, because if we didn't have, honestly, if we didn't have photographers, we wouldn't be aware of a lot of things that are out there, right? Whether it's human suffering, whether it's like uh, all sorts of activities that we need to be aware of, because if you don't capture things that are important, then it won't matter to anyone. So I think what Anu says through her photography and how she showcases that to the world, that's a very valid point, that it's a perfect photograph isn't something that just looks beautiful. A perfect photograph is probably something that makes you realize there's a lot more out there in the world that we may not know about.
Yeah.
So, okay. And I don't know if this applies in your case specifically, but like people say living in the moment, right? Because everywhere we go nowadays, everyone just has their phones out there, which again, yeah, maybe it's a camera, maybe it's not. I don't want to really get into that, but okay, I mean, I want to ask you this actually. What's your take on phone photography?
Okay, so I think my take on phone photography when it comes to wildlife is that's not the way to do it. And I think my viewpoint has been very well reflected. There's been a recent Supreme Court ruling which bans phones on safari across all national parks.
Wow. Okay.
So I kind of totally support that.
And why was this ruling passed? Or why was this passed?
So you look at a telephoto lens.
Yeah.
I can be really far away and shoot with a telephoto lens and not necessarily be in the encroach on the comfort or zone of an animal.
Yeah, or basically get mauled by the animal.
Yeah. But people with phones want to get as close as possible. That causes a lot of disturbance, a lot of issues, and not everyone with a phone is a photographer. So
yeah. So again, while certain individuals may disagree with Anu's viewpoint, that's fine because we disagree with their viewpoint. Because I also feel that yes, carrying a camera is difficult. Not everyone wants to carry a camera, but a camera is a camera at the end of the day. Even I like my phone. At some points, I do use it to shoot videos because, again, it's just lighter. But at the same time, I also understand that nothing can replicate or nothing can basically replace a dedicated camera, in my opinion.
yeah, and I like to reiterate, all I'm trying to say is a phone camera is not necessarily ideal for a wildlife thing.
Yeah.
But if you talk about landscapes or something else, maybe yes, it definitely works well.
Yeah. I mean, I really doubt they're shooting in RAW even on that. Like, they're probably just shooting in like a JPEG or whatever they leave
Most
it
of
on.
the phone people are the ones who
Casual
are
users. Casual users.
casual users and people chasing, I don't know, likes and engagement on social media.
Yeah. So again, I guess, even I use my phone. I like my phone, but I generally prefer a camera always. And I think it's a very important point. When you do go out there, using your phone in a wildlife reserve is risky. You're trying to get closer to get that magical shot for Instagram likes. Don't do it because, next photo might not be something that you want to post. So just try and avoid that as much as you can. And I think that's actually a great thing. And again, since I talked about it, but I want to know your take also. You capture moments that can never be replicated. So what is your take on how everyone's just getting excited about AI replacing photographers? Like, we're not getting excited about it, but people who maybe don't have that skill or maybe who don't have that understanding of what photography, what capturing a moment actually is, they are getting excited about it, that they feel, and you go first.
So it is chasing, so if we let's talk about people generating any kind of an image through any of the generative AI platforms, and most of them are for putting up on social media, generating likes, works for them, great. But at the end of the day, nothing beats the actual experience. So you may be happy doing that, but if you've not ventured out, you've deprived yourself of an experience and you will never ever get it. So once you have any kind of an experience traveling out, I'm not necessarily saying wildlife, the more you travel, the more you see things, you're enriching your life. You're gaining experiences, you're learning a whole lot. But if you're sitting on a laptop or a desktop and doing this, it's just you in a basement. That's about it.
Yeah. So one point that I kind of understand, certain small business owners or people who may not be able to afford professional photographers, maybe for them I understand that at least it's an option of getting something done when you may not be able to access resources to do it correctly. But at the same time, I would say that, okay, that may work for a certain segment, but it shouldn't be the ideal way, or shouldn't be the way.
Shouldn't be the norm.
Yeah, it shouldn't be the norm. Because, of course, photography is expensive. Really talented photographers do, of course, to work with them, there is a cost involved, which I also understand. But at the same time, there's always a balance. You can always find someone who's good at their job, who's starting out, who's also looking for the opportunity to prove himself.
Right.
So that way you all both benefit, right? The client benefits and the artist benefits.
True.
Because, so I always say that, yeah, there are always options. And AI is also one of them, but it shouldn't become the norm, like Anu said. And again, like I personally feel like, I mean, if you create something with AI, even if it looks somewhat real, like I've seen them create like, videos of like senior actors from my father's generation, how they would look if they were there today. So that is interesting to look at, but that's not something I would remember or hold on to, right? It's not going to last as a memory. It's something, it's more like, it's just fun. It's not memorable. It's just fun. It's like, again, it's a dopamine hit in a way.
It's fleeting.
Yeah, it's fleeting. You look at it, you absorb it, and then you forget about it. It doesn't last forever. But whenever you go to a museum or you go to like any exhibition, like if you see a photographer's works on display also, certain photographs will hit you. Like they will actually, they'll probably like stay with you even after you leave. And I think that is something that, and it's real, right? AI is not real. It's not real. It's just replicating something.
True. And it's also picking up from somewhere, because the whole thing is, it's learning from somewhere. Yeah. It's picking up something as a reference and using it. But if you talk about a real life painting or a photograph or a piece of sculpture, any form of art, there is some soul to it. There is some sort of a thought process behind it, which I don't think AI will be able to replicate in any way. If you're talking about any sort of soul stirring or evoking some sort of a thought, it lacks the soul, and it also gets it wrong a lot of times.
At times. Okay, yeah. So again, since we're still talking about AI, I had another question regarding software. So I'm guessing you, obviously, whatever photo editing software you use, a lot of them are incorporating AI into their, systems as well. So basically, I don't use generative AI as such. Like maybe I use it once in a while. Like suppose there's a photograph I've taken and there's something on the ground which is like horrific looking. Maybe I'll just erase that with generative AI, but I will not use it to like do anything else. But I'm guessing in your case is the same, like you probably don't use it that much?
No, so I don't use it for any kind of a generative purpose. But yes, like you said, cleaning up a spot, removing, let's say, I don't know, it can be just a simple photograph, but there's litter in it. If I want to remove the litter, something like that, which most photo editing softwares allowed you to do even before that, AI existed. Yeah,
Lightroom always had that remove option, but now with generative AI, what they're doing is they basically at least they remove it, but they replace it with something that's very similar to it. So that's just, it's fake, but it looks real.
It just made the job a little easier.
Yeah, it just made it a little easier. Like, I won't lie, there have been shots where like I've been standing and I see something like that's trash like right next to me, and I'll remove it. But then I actually post random stories of that on my social media at times. Like there was one photo of me in Hong Kong at the Tiantan Buddha, the great Buddha, and I was standing and trying to give that, hey, I'm a solo tourist pose, because I was there by myself. Yeah. And there were like a lot of tourists behind me. And I actually used Lightroom to use the distraction tool to remove those tourists, but I didn't like it. Like I didn't like it that it looked like, it looked fake. Like how can I be in a spot like that and there's no one around? Like it's just not real.
It's not real. It's like your typical images. If you Google the Taj Mahal, you see your typical images where the whole place is vacant.
And there's one person standing in the center, which is ridiculous.
And no matter what time you go into that monument, it's never empty.
Yeah.
It's hordes and hordes of people. So you know how it is.
Yeah. So again, with photography, a little bit away from the main topic, but thing is, everyone's trying to show, right, that exclusivity. Like, hey, I'm here, I'm cool. I have this place to myself. No, you don't. We know it's not real. So it's like, you can show it on social media, but unless you got permission from the government to be there and they shut down the whole place for you, then I'll believe that.
Yeah.
But that's not happening, right? We know when it's just been like fake, like,
Right.
and most people do. And again, I think a lot of people are doing it just so that they get that cool factor going for them,
Oh,
right?
there's a new social media word which has been exploited and overused. It looks aesthetic.
Oh, it looks aesthetic. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I mean, I think that got exploited years back when they were trying
And
to
it's
teach.
still being.
They're trying to teach people how to make an aesthetic feed. I'm like, what is an aesthetic feed? Like, all your photos look the same. Okay, that's great, but that's not your life.
Yeah.
We all know it's staged. It's not real. So, right, I mean, are you like waking up and everywhere you go, there's like a white background and like beige tones? No, that's not working, right?
True, true.
So I have another question for you, Anu. What's one shot that you maybe missed that still like troubles you till this day?
So this is before I became a photographer,
Okay.
or rather took up the photography journey. I was on a holiday. It was just a weekend getaway from Delhi. I was in Corbett. We were driving down one of these forested roads.
Okay.
It was getting dark, and the brakes on the car that were in got slammed, and
Wow.
we kind of, and because it was a leisurely drive, there were no seat belts on. Like literally went and slammed into the dashboard of the car, and to question the driver, why did you do that? And he says, there's a tiger
Oh,
in
okay.
the middle of the road. And that time I just had a small point and shoot.
Oh, wow.
It was getting dark. I had no idea about photography. And I was really scared to even, roll down the window and take a
Yeah.
picture. So I tried to take a picture, and then normally your point and shoot cameras, when they detect it's low light,
Auto flash.
auto flash.
Yeah.
And what happens when you're doing an auto flash through the
It reflects.
windscreen?
Yeah.
It reflects. So I didn't get that. And I was like, what is wrong with this camera? I don't need the flash on. And I, kind of turned the flap back off, and we drive a little more. The tigers cross the road.
Yeah.
And we decide to wait and see if we can see the tiger again. And she kind of peeks out from the bushes. And then I see another small face, and I see
Oh,
another
wow.
small face. So there were 3 cubs and the mother. I tried taking a picture again. It's the same story that repeated.
Oh.
So I wasn't a photographer then. I had no idea what I was doing, but I really regret that.
Okay. So, that makes sense because I think a lot of us start our journey with point and shoots. Like, I mean, even I had a point and shoot. I mean, my brother was actually shooting with a professional camera back then. So I believe he used to have a Nikon back in the day. And, but I used to basically shoot with a point and shoot. And then I thought, okay, I had a Nokia Lumia, since you were with Microsoft, I had a Nokia Lumia 950 XL later, first a 920, then a 1520, then a 950 XL. And honestly, at that point, I used to think, okay, these camera phones are fine. But I actually got into using professional gear when I got like a Sony NEX5.
Yeah.
So I got an NEX5, and I was like, okay, wow, this is phenomenal. And I haven't studied photography professionally. In fact, that's a question I had
Neither
for you.
have I.
Oh, wow, okay. I guess that's another thing we have in common. But I mean, except that Anu obviously has shot a lot of cooler things. But yeah, so then I switched from there, and then that's when I began like only like basically sticking to professional gear.
Yeah.
Because it makes a major difference. Like, and I mean, I honestly say people are willing to spend, lakhs of rupees on certain things. Like they might spend lakhs of rupees on shoes, on clothes, on brands. That's their personal choice. But I say if you want to capture memories, just buy one camera. Okay, just buy one camera, one lens. You don't have to buy full frame. You don't have to buy even a medium format or whatever, Hasselblad. You don't have to buy anything that's like state of the art. But even if you buy a mid-range camera, like you buy a Fujifilm with an APS-C sensor, you will still not regret it. That's my personal belief. Like
When I tell people the same thing, I never use the word buy. I say invest in a good camera.
yeah, exactly. That's the right word, actually.
Yeah.
You should invest in a good camera because your memories are actually priceless.
Exactly.
You're not going to get those memories again. And later on, when you look at your phone photos and you think, okay, you won't actually realize it because you're so used to the standard being baseline. You will not understand that there's actually a level much above that you're not exposed to. And it's not about editing. Like even if you shoot in JPEG, like a lot of people don't want to edit, right? They're like, I'm not going to sit on my computer, sit down and edit for like an hour, 2 hours. Even if you shoot in JPEG, that's fine. You will still get like phenomenal images compared to like what you would get on a phone.
Right.
Like, yeah. I mean, in fact, phones, coming back to that, in fact, phones nowadays, they've started, apps have started basically coming up with a mode, which is basically like it strips away all the processing. So a couple of apps have started doing that, and I anyway shoot RAW. I mean, so-called RAW on a phone, but I anyway shoot RAW. Although I don't shoot in 48 megapixels, I shoot in 12 megapixels because I mean, honestly, yeah, it doesn't matter if it's 48 megapixels, it's still coming from like a sensor that's like literally that
Tiny.
small.
It's not built enough, sturdy enough to handle that.
Yeah. Although I won't lie, there's certain for social media. Sometimes what I like to do is I like to test myself. Like when I went to London, I shot like maybe like 1,200, 1,400 photos with my camera, but I shot a lot of photos with my phone because I wanted to actually see how much I can push myself. Right? Because with a camera, I know I'm going to get like great results, but with a phone, I have to figure out a few things, right? Like there was like one night it was raining, and I walked out with my phone, and I took a lot of shots with my phone also. Like so, this is going to sound like it's a pain. So what I do is I'll go take a shot with my phone. Then I'll put the phone in my pocket. Then I'll take out my camera. I'll take the same shot with my camera. And yeah, that's actually again coming back to how photography is not a joke. It's like it's not easy.
True.
But I did that to test myself. Like I literally want to see how much I can creatively push myself. Not my own photos, because I don't like taking photos of myself with the phone. But of just like, you know, street life, like different places.
And no doubt about it. Sometimes the phone does a better job than the camera in terms of framing.
I guess because...
Especially if you're talking about cityscapes and environments, definitely.
I mean, I don't like using the wide lens that much because again, the distortion, I still have to correct it in post. I mean, it's like literally like a curved image. So, I mean, like again, like maybe, you know, cool kids today love that, but I'm not a cool kid. So it's like, yeah. Yeah, so that way you still have to correct it for distortion.
True.
But yeah, so that's what I did. But okay, so that was your missed shot. Okay. I'm trying to think, has there been anything that I've really missed? No, actually, you know, I don't think I've missed anything because the thing is, half the time when I've gone somewhere and they've told me I can't take a photograph because it's like restricted. So I'm like, I've not missed it because they just stopped me from even doing it. So I guess, yeah, maybe.
Probably in other forms of photography, whether it's still life or landscape, your subject isn't going anywhere either.
No, but I shoot, so I don't like street, and I've said this multiple times before, because I feel one thing is today we become so comfortable with people just randomly taking our photos anywhere we go. And I don't agree with that. In fact, again, I'm not going to mention the company because, and I might buy their product at some point, but with basically glasses, smart glasses, that's the problem, right? Nowadays, like, I mean, you think, okay, most people may not use it for the wrong reasons, and there'll be that one creep somewhere who will basically record something he's not supposed to record. And that's why I think, again, in India especially, or maybe all over the world, it's not being done fast enough, whether it's regulation against AI, like in Dubai for that matter. In Dubai, you cannot record people just like that. Yeah, you will get into big trouble if you do that in Dubai. And I think in India, it's like no one cares. They're like, yeah, it's okay. I'll just record whatever I want.
Yeah, we've got a whole lot of other things to deal with.
In fact, yeah, we do. Of course we do. But at the same time, this is something that's going to cause issues also.
It is. And especially when people who approach street photography, that if it's out on the street, you have a right to shoot it. But then you're also encroaching in someone else's space. How people approach street photography, a lot of people, not just Indian photographers, but international photographers too, at times it feels a little derogatory too.
In Japan, there's one photographer, I forget his name. So he was apparently a Fuji ambassador also. So what he would do is, he would literally hunt his subject. Like suppose there's someone walking. He will literally come around you, start walking in front of you and start just taking shots. And again, in my opinion, that's not correct. No. Like that's basically a form of harassment in a way. Like if someone did that to me, I don't think I'd react that politely. Like, you know, it's like, and again, see, we are on the street. Again, it all depends, right? Like that whole, there's a thin line. Like, okay, I'm on the street, so of course, it's open season in a way, right? To shoot my photograph. But at the same time, if I don't want to be in that photograph, and if I see you taking my photograph...
you need to respect the other person's
I can request you and say that, please delete my photo, I don't want to be in it. In fact, there's a very funny thing I do, which is not many people are aware of. when I go to concerts and I go to like places where I don't want to be photographed, I wear a cap. Because then if someone's like taking a photo, they're taking a selfie, I just put my head down like this. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if it works, but I just move fast. But although in a phone, because the shutter speed is normally anyway set higher, in a phone I don't think it's like gonna miss that much. It can if there are multiple subjects, but I try to just move my head fast, so it gets a little blurry. But I don't know. Actually, I've never checked. These are just experiments I've done. Like I don't know if it works, but it's okay. I should try that again. But again, coming back to you, Anu, is there anything else you'd like to tell us? Like, where do you see yourself going next, like in terms of photography?
So, I grew up in Assam. And while I see a whole lot of other areas in the country with respect to wildlife being represented really well, I still feel the whole representation of wildlife in the Northeast is lacking. So it is a dream project for me to do something over there. I'm working on it. I don't know how far I'll get, but I put the wheels in motion. So I would like to do something around that, because there's a whole lot of exotic wildlife that you do get in the northeastern part of the country that is not found anywhere else.
Wow,
so
that's amazing.
I would like to do something on those lines.
Okay, so I had another question that just came to my mind right now about the business side of things. So how have you managed to handle the business side of things? Because photography is a creative pursuit, but it's also a business, right? We have to juggle both sides, right? So how do you handle the business side of things?
So apart from me shooting for my own pleasure or happiness or whatever that it is, I do a whole lot of curated wildlife trips for people. And most of them are women-centric. So,
okay, that's great.
I work with a company based in the US, which works towards promoting wildlife to women, photography to women, and also we work towards making a whole lot of wildlife destinations accessible to women.
Okay.
Therefore, let's say, if someone's there in the US wants to come down to India, but then has these preconceived notions about what the country is all about. Is it safe, not safe? So we work on those lines, try and provide them that safe environment to come down here, do it, not just in India, but anywhere else in the world. So on the business or the money part of it, that's what I do. And most of it is women-centric, but then there are a whole lot of individual photographers also who would like, most of them, obviously international photographers who would like to come down to India. They have specific species in mind, locations in mind. So
okay, have you done any master classes as such, like, or have you had any, like, sessions where you teach people how to?
I do. I mean, I don't do that all that much, but I have worked like in a classroom environment. So
okay, that's great.
Many years ago, I used to be associated with Canon, so I've done a whole lot of workshops for Canon.
Wow.
A lot of them also for women. That's where this whole thing kind of took off from. For women, for school children. I've even done a few workshops for officers in the forest services.
Okay,
so
that's
I've
great.
done one at the Dehradun, the Indira Gandhi Forest Academy in Mussoorie, which is where all these IAS, IPS officers go in for their final training. It's called the Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy for Administrative Academy. I've done a couple of sessions there. So yeah, I've done the masterclass thing in quite a few cities.
Okay.
But I haven't done them in quite some time.
Okay.
Because everything else has taken precedence.
Of course. Yeah, because I think for all of the viewers who want to know, it's like being an artist is not easy for anyone. Whether you're an actor, whether you're a photographer, for any artist, it's not easy, right? Because like we're moving, we're working, but it's like it's a wave. Like, so you literally have a lot of things happening, then it'll be a little slow period, then again it'll be high.
Yep.
So being an artist is not easy, but the fact that anyone who chooses to be an artist, it's a step which is again, it's commendable in some ways. I mean, anything anyone does is commendable, but the point is being an artist is a little difficult because you're not always aware of what's happening next, right? Something will just pop up magically and you'll be like, this is amazing. And then other times you'll be wondering, okay, like, when am I going to be doing this next? So being an artist, I've always said this myself because being in the movie industry, you cannot predict what's going to happen next. And I think maybe, I don't know, in photography, it's not exactly like that, but
I would say in wildlife photography, it is.
It
It's
is.
absolutely unpredictable.
I mean, you can't predict what's going to come in front of you. Like there may be
No.
some days where you're not able to capture
I
anything.
might be out doing what I'm doing for 10, 15 days straight and end up with not a single shot.
Okay, okay.
So the predictability is actually fun.
Okay, okay. Yeah, actually, that happens actually because even when I travel sometimes, there might be one day where I'm like, why did I even bring my camera? And and honestly, actually, coming back, so I've stopped not, like I never leave my camera at home anymore now because I'm just like...
That's when something good happens.
Yeah, exactly. Because I learned that one day, like when I did not carry my telephoto, and I needed that telephoto that day, and I just missed out. I think I said I didn't really miss out, but yeah, I did miss out. And then I realized, okay, you should have at least, you need to have a camera on you because you never know what's going to suddenly come up. Like, oh, okay, this reminds me. So I was in Turkey in 2015, and let's just say that my camera got misplaced.
Okay.
That's a nice way of putting it. This is on the third day of my trip. I have 4 days left. And I was literally shooting everything with my Lumia 1520. And I regretted that so much. Like, all the places I saw, all the memories I had, I did not have my camera with me for the last 4 or 5 days of my trip. And it was just bad. Like, it almost felt like someone had tied one arm behind my back. And it was pretty bad. But I guess after that day, I just learned that, no carrying a camera in a small bag. Just
You have to hold on to it for dear life.
Yeah. In fact, I spent 3 hours in the police station trying to recover it, and they were very happy when I showed them that I had met Amir Khan sir. So they were very happy because in Turkey apparently they love Amir sir. So
Okay.
so they were happy about that, but they weren't really helpful in finding my camera. So I guess at least the helpful police officers over there, well, they at least were happy about something. Anu, I want to ask you, what advice would you give to aspiring photographers or young photographers?
Well, be it any form of photography, what I would say is first learn to be observant. You can be shooting any genre of photography, but if you're observant, you'll find certain nuances that you can try and capture in your images, which will probably give it a life of its own. And if I was to bring that whole concept back to wildlife, understanding your subject, respecting your subject, and then going forward with the photography part of it will help any individual become a better photographer. Because if I was to talk about wildlife, you can go out there, see something and shoot. But if you have an understanding of the subject, you can actually wait for something else to happen. And if you have an understanding, you know when that can happen.
Okay.
So it'll help you create better images, better photographs, also end up being a better individual as such, with a greater understanding for nature and wildlife.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. So I had one more question. You've been part of House of Creativity since the beginning. And in fact, we haven't really talked about anywhere yet, but this year we're planning our next exhibition. We're hoping to focus more on our photographers.
Okay,
because
that's nice.
because all our shows so far have had a primary focus on artworks. But we want to focus on photography this time. So we're going to figure it out. Like, we're going to talk to our partners who we work with for the next show, and then we're going to figure it out. And also we're hoping that, again, this is all early, talking about it a little bit prematurely, but we're planning on doing something in Dubai if everything falls into place for our next, for another show this year. But I want to ask you about House of Creativity. Like, what do you feel like a platform of House of Creativity? How does it help artists?
To begin with, I think when I got to know about the whole thing and House of Creativity as a concept being one single platform for artists, be it painters, sculptors, photographers, it was really nice to have someone think about bringing all these art forms under one roof And I know you've done a whole lot of work around promoting painters
Yeah.
and other artists across, and I'm sure that's helped them a lot individually and also worked very well for House of Creativity. So having a platform like this, which helps you grow and also helps you get some sort of exposure, but overall promote any
Yeah.
kind of art
Yeah.
form, that's really great, because artists or art does need some sort of a vocal voice which gives them
Yeah.
a space to be in.
Yeah, I mean, I think, honestly speaking, I've always been grateful to every artist who's been with us. And since you've been with us from the start, like, you know, we have a few artists who've stuck by us, right? Like, some years have been, like, amazing for House of Creativity. Some years have been a little slow, like I said, because art is not predictable. There are no fixed results every year. It's not toothpaste. You're not buying it every month, right? So, but we've had some amazing moments. And, like, again, I'm thankful that, you know, whoever's been with us, like, you know, you, other artists who've been with us from the start, we're always thankful to have you with us. And we always look forward to growing with you all, because when you all grow, then we grow. It's just very simple as that. But, you know, it's been great talking to you, Anu. And
It was fun being here.
yeah, I mean, it's fun. We're doing In Conversation series after a while, but really great having you. And again, because you're a photographer, it's been really good. We had our first guest was a calligrapher. The second guest was a painter, and now we have a photographer. So I think that's just fun for us also, giving everyone different, you know, viewpoints, exposure to different skill sets. And yeah, it's always great having someone like you on it. So thank you, Anu.
Thank you so much for having it. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.